you looking to learn more about your spiritual journey? Are you on a healing journey? Have you tried conventional ways of healing but didn't get the results you desired? If so, this podcast is for you. My name is Reverend Dr. Jackie Cope, and I'm a metaphysical minister, intuitive guide, and teacher. Here at Raven Rabbit, we believe that your ancestors, spiritual guides, and divine self are ready and eager to help you heal and prosper. We approach life, healing, and happiness through a holistic, indigenous spiritual lens to create the lives we want. Join me to radically change your life today. Hello, welcome to the Wellness Studio podcast. This is part one of our Wellness Case Files series here with Olga, where we walk alongside one person's healing journey over 3 episodes. This is not about fixing or diagnosing, it's about witnessing a real transformation in real time. Today, we begin with the problem, not as judgment, but as a starting place. Olga, tell us who you are, where you're joining us from, and what currently lights you up.
Hi, Jackie. Thank you so much. I'm so grateful to be here. I am in Toronto, Canada, and sorry, where I am, what lights me up, what was the other one?
Yeah, what lights you up? And you
Oh,
told us you're in Canada right now.
yes. I would say spirituality is really what has been lighting me up for the last couple of years. I started my journey a few years ago when I started reading a lot on psychology and healing and inner child healing. But
Mm,
my spiritual journey really took off a couple of years ago. I met someone who activated me, which is often people's experience, right? They'll realize at some point later down the road that a specific person activated them with something they said or just energy. So
mm,
that's what happened with me, and my whole life has changed. And it hasn't been an easy journey by any means, but I can see how I've been transformed for the better. And so,
hmm.
yeah, I'm a little bit obsessed with the journey sometimes to the point
Easy to
where
do.
yeah, to the point where sometimes I have to say, okay, I need to take a break. Like it can't just be all healing all the time.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, but I'm just coming out of a really, really big transformation and I'm still in transformation, but I can already see how my whole life has changed. So, yeah, that has most of my attention these days. And
Mm,
also, one of those transformations was walking away from a nursing career. And so I'm
mm,
now building an online energy healing business like Reiki and quantum healing. So that
yeah.
really lights me up too. I'm really passionate about it. And I'm so glad that I found something that I can, sink my teeth into and feel will be successful and will help a lot of people.
I'm in the same boat. I walked away from classroom teaching of 13 years. So,
Oh my
I
gosh,
get it.
and mine was 14 years. So,
Yep.
yeah, I think a lot of people are going through this, right?
Yeah. So, what do you want listeners to understand about you beyond the challenges that we're going to talk about today?
Um, well, I guess where I've come from would be part of it. And, that my whole life hasn't been all challenges. I've had many, many beautiful experiences and I've experienced all sorts of things, inspirational and loving experiences, but also challenges for sure that have shaped who I am. So I wasn't born in Canada. We immigrated here and
Mm,
we've lived a few different places in the world, in Africa and Europe.
mm,
So I've had lots of experiences that way, and culture really shapes us. So I
yes.
think that's important to mention. Yeah, and yeah, I've experienced lots of highs and lows, including with my family as a child. At one point we were quite well off, and then the universe decides that you need to learn some different lessons. So then we found ourselves in a position where we were struggling. And so, yeah, I've
Hmm.
I've seen a lot of extremes.
Interesting. Yeah, very
Yeah.
good. So, what made you want to share your story in this format on my podcast?
I really think it's important to share our stories to help others heal, because I have found a lot of healing through other people sharing their stories. And I also find it healing for myself to share my own story, whether it's in written format or speaking. And I also want to get more comfortable with speaking, and
Hmm.
try and find speaking engagements just to share my story, because I think it's really important. And, I've been encouraged to share my story. So, yeah, I just see the value in that. And the podcast format is new for me, but that's exciting, right? Like
Yeah.
heading into a new arena. So, yeah, I just wanted to expose myself to different experiences.
Yes, that's great. And I think that's something good our listeners can take back is it is important to share your story and listen to other people's stories. It all is medicine. When you look at your life right now, what feels most tender or heavy?
I think it's coming out of the void, coming out of that death cycle and just
Hmm.
stepping into the rebirth is pretty tender.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, and you know, when you're in the void, you're isolated for a long time.
Yes.
So yeah, so I've been in hermit mode for a while, as they say in tarot.
Hmm.
And it's been challenging, but I see the benefit in isolating, and I see why it was necessary to just be in my own energy while I went through these really, really challenging times of shedding parts of myself that, were trauma based. Um, so
Yeah.
it's been a bit isolating. I don't want to say lonely because, part of the journey is getting comfortable being by yourself and loving your own company and your own energy.
Hmm.
And I think I've achieved that. Um, but yeah, I look forward to rebuilding my community because I find I don't have a lot of community right now.
Yeah, and I think that's pretty natural of going through that whole shed. It's hard, you lose a lot of people and you're not ready for that.
Yeah,
It's
nothing really prepares you for it. The
yeah.
deeper you get into spirituality, you might find some content like podcasts and things that talk about these processes, but they're not really out there in the mainstream. So I had
Hmm.
no idea what the journey was all about. And yeah, hopefully I can, like through this medium, and in the future, I can share my experience and my story with people and help them maybe be a little bit more prepared for what to expect and like what is the death and rebirth cycle, because there are like certain steps that we all go through. They might
Yeah.
look a little bit different from person to person, but it's the same process. So I think it's really important to educate people on that because it would make it a little bit easier.
Yeah.
Maybe.
It'll be you will feel held. Maybe not
Yeah.
easier, but you'll feel like okay, they've been through it too.
Yeah. Or just to know that like some intense spiritual experience that you just went through and you're just like, did that just happen or is it all in my head? And just to know that it's a normal part of the process and like you're doing the right things, you're going in the right direction just by having had that experience. And there's like
Exactly.
there was a purpose to it, right?
Hmm. So if you had to name a central struggle, how would you describe it in your own words?
One of my central struggles would definitely be like one of my core childhood wounds. So for me,
Mm.
that's abandonment.
Mm. Yes.
Uh, yeah, which is a really, really common wound that many people have. Whether it's their main wound or like a secondary wound, a lot of people are affected by abandonment, right?
Yes.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah. So that has been one of the main things. So for me, that came out in behaviors like people pleasing,
Hmm.
constantly giving my power away just to get validation and attention from people because I didn't have the self-worth and the confidence to. look within myself for answers. I was constantly asking other people and just constantly giving my power away, looking for validation, people pleasing. And then one of the biggest ways that it showed up was self-abandonment. And for me, that was with
Yeah.
yeah, for me, that was with my cannabis addiction, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So those have been the main ones, and it's been tough. Like there's been many death and rebirth cycles because, you don't always shed everything that you need to the first time around. So sometimes you feel like you're learning the same lesson over and over again, but it's just because there's more to shed.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's interesting because people don't even understand that that's what they're going through. They don't
No.
know how, they don't have the words of like abandonment in general, like
Yeah.
in their life, because I dealt with that too. And the other one I really focus on with my teachings is the self side of it, like your own self-abandonment. How are you doing it to
Yes.
yourself and then keep perpetuating it out to the world to keep doing it to you?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, like these are kind of complex psychological processes. It's not straightforward, right? Because our subconscious
Mm-hmm.
mind doesn't work in a straightforward manner. It like inverts things and works based on like symbolism and things like that. So it's difficult to interpret these behaviors sometimes because outwardly it doesn't look like that's what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, in order to understand, you do have to kind of study a little bit and like understand a little bit of psychology. But once you start going through the healing process, most of us want to know more and want to know what's happening because otherwise you just feel like everything's falling apart and it'll never be okay again. And it's easy to go down that doom path.
Yep. Yeah, and you start ruminating.
Yes.
Yeah. So when did you, with the people pleasing and the self-abandonment that you've talked
Mhm.
about, and
Yeah.
now we kind of see how it shows up for you, when did you learn that your needs came second?
I think, whatever language people out there are comfortable with, God, the universe, whatever, but I think that the universe was showing me time and time again through like relationships with others,
Mm-hmm.
showing me the same lessons. And generally, when you have to learn the same lesson more than once or twice, the lesson gets more and more difficult because they're
Mm-hmm.
really shoving in your face, like, are you not seeing this? Are you not seeing how you're bending over backwards for everyone else and putting their needs above yours? So it's kind of hard to explain. Like, I'm not sure if I could actually give an example. Um,
Mm-hmm. Well, like
but
just a
yeah, oh yeah,
repeated
just
pattern.
repeated patterns. Absolutely. Yeah, like pattern recognition I think was the first like step on my healing journey because you have to see the problem before you can even try and fix it. But even in conversation or hanging out with friends, if I had something to say that was going against the grain, I might just keep it to myself, or I might say it, but not in like a confident manner where I actually believe in what I'm saying. I might like
Mm,
share it in like a more joking manner. And if it wasn't accepted, then I would just like back away and concede to what everyone else was saying.
mm-hmm.
Little things like that. Time. I would put other people's time above my own. Like if someone wanted to spend time with me, I would drop what I was doing and go spend time with them, but that was never reciprocated for me, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then the self-abandonment what revolved around self-sabotage, you know,
Yeah.
which is another really difficult one to explain because it doesn't look like self-sabotage outrightly, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but just, maybe setting a goal like you want to deepen this friendship or you want to work on this. And then you start working towards it. And in the back of your mind, you start feeling that you're not really good enough for this, right? So then you do things to get in your way of achieving that goal. So for
Mm-hmm.
me, it was often smoking cannabis.
Mm-hmm.
Um, And just other self-sabotaging behaviors. Sometimes it revolves around food, sometimes it revolves around like not taking care of yourself so that when you do get the opportunity to do the thing that you're doing, like you're not showing up in the way that you want to show up.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, everything is so subtle, and that's what I think I want the
Yeah.
listeners to notice because you don't, if you're not consciously thinking about it, you don't see the pattern. And that's where we get into that talk of like your neural pathways are built, and the ego's just going to have you pick the easiest route. Oh, I've always
Yes.
done this. I'm going to keep doing it that way.
Yes. Yeah. And your ego will always choose the route that's familiar because that's what
Mm-hmm.
feels safe, right?
Yeah.
It's really interesting. A lot of people misunderstand ego. When I talk about ego, a lot of people will say, "Oh, I don't think that person is acting from their ego. They're not conceited and things like that. They're not like, doing the bravado thing." I'm like, that's not what ego means. Ego
Mm-hmm.
is just a part of your psyche that keeps you stuck, that keeps you doing the same safe, familiar things
Yeah.
because stepping into the unknown, doing something differently, taking a risk is really
Yeah.
scary. And
And
your
could put you in
ego,
danger.
yeah, and your ego
It,
is
it
meant to
thinks.
keep you safe, right?
Yeah.
So a lot of people misunderstand what the ego actually is.
Yeah. That's like one little aspect of it when you're being conceited and self-absorbed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's like the
And
most outwardly part of it, but it's such a
yeah.
small part.
Yeah, I think of ego more of the other way of keeping those habits, keeping you safe,
Yeah.
justifying your actions and feelings when
Yep.
they don't need to be justified,
Yeah,
like on the
even if
negative
it's
side.
a detrimental behavior like, smoking cannabis too much. It's like, but you've been safe doing this, so let's just keep doing this. Well, no,
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to keep doing this.
Yeah. And it makes it very hard to break the mold, and that's why the healing journey is so complicated
Yeah.
because you have two things at play. Yeah. How does giving up, how does giving your power away show up now, even after so much growth? Like, can it still creep in?
Oh gosh, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, I think it's easiest to point out how it happens in relationships, especially
Mm-hmm.
romantic relationships, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, So just even like spending too much time worrying about what someone else is doing or what someone else is thinking instead of
Mm.
focusing on yourself, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Um, I can't think of a concrete example right now.
That's okay.
Yeah.
I was thinking about it in like a little way for me. Like
Yeah.
I didn't know I was such a people pleaser of like I had to take care of everybody else first.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that till way later, like maybe a year ago, which was
Yeah.
not that long ago. And
Yeah.
it comes down to simple things for me. And just last week I was running errands and they took too long. And I was like, oh my gosh, I can't go to the bathroom because I need to get home and help my husband with the baby. Like little things like that. Like, no, no, I need to stop. I can go use the bathroom. It's okay. Like
Yes,
it'll
exactly.
that could be like giving away your power. Something as simple as not taking that stop to pee because you have things to do.
Yeah.
And it still shows up for me and stuff like that. And thankfully I did. I stopped myself and I was like, no, I don't need to like keep doing what I've always done.
Right.
Yeah. So, when you feel self-abandonment, where do you feel it in your body?
Ooh, that's a good question. I think I feel it mostly in my chest,
Mm,
which I know is usually like a fear. Like if a sensation shows up in your chest, it's often like fear-based, right? I believe.
I don't know.
And
I
then
should know these things.
if you feel something in your like abdomen, sometimes it's like anxiety based.
That's where I feel a lot of things, and that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah,
Anxiety, yeah, because I
yeah,
worry.
yeah. Anxiety is definitely part of it, but I think a big part of it for me is fear. Like, going through this spiritual awakening has made me realize how much fear I really have. And again, it's not something that you consciously realize.
Mm-hmm.
If you ask me, are you scared? No, I don't feel like I'm scared most of the time. But then when you start shedding all these parts of you that came from trauma and you really try to step forward into like who you really are, your authentic self, your divine self, there's so much fear and there's so much resistance.
Mm-hmm.
And I know now that a lot of it is because I'm actually like scared of how powerful I truly am.
Mm-hmm.
And, they say there's all kinds of different reasons for that. Like you may have been ostracized or punished for stepping into your most powerful self in like a past life,
Mm-hmm.
or it's programming from this life. Because in order to fit in and receive love and validation, based on your abandonment wound, you make yourself small and
Yes.
you try not to outshine other people. Um, So yeah, that's been a big part of the cycle for me.
Yeah, that was good share. And because we do things as kids that we have to do, and we don't
Yeah.
have a choice because we have to survive and we have to please the people who are taking care of us.
Yeah.
What does your nervous system do when you try to choose yourself?
Sometimes it goes into chaos,
Yeah,
honestly.
mine too.
Yeah. Like I feel very dysregulated and I have to do some somatic practice of some sort, whether it's breath work or yoga or just like putting my hands on my chest or something like that. Reiki, I love Reiki for regulating my nervous system
Mm-hmm.
and my emotions. It's been a godsend, honestly. I'm so grateful. I'm just
Yes.
doing self Reiki, and I think that's such a powerful tool. I think more people should do self Reiki. Like, yes, you can go to a Reiki practitioner, but
Mm-hmm.
you know, doing self Reiki on myself for 30 or 40 minutes several times a week has been huge in regulating my nervous system. So yeah, my nervous system kind of goes into chaos, honestly, because that's not a pathway that I'm used to choosing myself.
Yeah,
Because it's risky, right? Because the ego will tell you, well, what if, you end up all alone and you don't have anybody because you're doing all these things against the grain or whatever.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I left the classroom, I felt the same thing. It's like you know you're choosing the right thing. You've talked to your spirit guides, you've done all of the things, but then
Yeah.
again, that ego comes online like, are you sure? What about retirement? What about this, false sense of security? Like, I know I have a place to go every day. Like, just that
Yeah.
same thing with like nursing. It's seems so safe. But
Yeah.
then, like, every day I'm just wreaking havoc on my nervous system because of the amount of stress that is
Yeah.
entailed with the job.
Yeah. Yeah. My
Yeah.
body was giving me a clear signal by the end before, like when I was walking out of my job, it was like, you can't be here anymore. Sorry. No matter how
Mm-hmm.
safe and secure and guaranteed it seems,
Mm-hmm.
you just can't be here anymore. You don't have a choice.
Yes. Same thing. So you've done sobriety work that you've brought up, and then
Yes.
in your application you talked about like not just in isolation, but also in the world. What did that reveal about your inner strength?
I think it taught me a lot about my nervous system. Um, it's more difficult to tune into what's happening in your nervous system when it comes to in relation with others.
Mm-hmm.
So I actually tuned into the fact that my nervous system was going into chaos every time I tried to make a change through my cannabis addiction because, it happened over and over and over and over again, like
Mm-hmm.
maybe close to 100 times where I would be like, okay, I'm gonna quit now. And
Mm.
then I would just get so uncomfortable. Um, and I might be able to go a few days or sometimes a few months without it, but then something really challenging in life would happen, and you would just feel like you can't do it without the help of that substance or whatever.
Yeah.
But once you force yourself through those difficult times without it, even though your nervous system goes into chaos and it feels really uncomfortable, you can endure that for a few hours, sometimes a few days if it's something really big. And then
Hmm.
you realize, oh, wait, I can do this. I just had to sit with discomfort for a while.
And we are taught not to ever sit with that.
Yeah, like yeah, exactly. We're not taught that. And it's just part of life. Like you have to get comfortable with being uncomfortable, especially
Exactly.
on the growth and healing journey. So I think that's where I showed myself how strong I am, because even though I might have fallen apart a little bit and felt really uncomfortable and felt like this couldn't possibly be the right thing to do. Why do I feel so uncomfortable? But that's actually
Hmm.
exactly what you should be doing is the stuff that feels uncomfortable. So that's how I
Hmm.
prove to myself how strong I am.
Yeah, I agree. And I'm happy you're using the word addiction because when I was a
Hmm.
teenager, I had a friend who smoked a lot of weed, and
Yeah.
I would talk about it being addictive, and she'd be like, "No, it's not. No, it's not." Because it's not like I don't know, the medical term for like it doesn't actually do a chemical. But to me, I was like, you could be addicted to anything. Anything can
Yes.
be your addiction. It does not have to
Exactly.
be, I guess, medical or something. Could be
Yeah.
TV, it could be food, it
Yeah.
could be overworking out. Like you could be addicted to something that seems seemingly healthy too.
Yep. Exactly. Yeah. I'm
Yeah.
still addicted to scrolling too much. So that's
Yeah, a lot of
something.
people deal with that. And I think
Yeah.
that maybe is getting people to realize it doesn't have to have.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
It's
Because
about.
it's the same thing as smoking cannabis. Like I'll be on my phone for like maybe a couple hours and then
Mm,
I'll be like, okay, I told myself I wasn't going to do this today. How did I just sit here for 2 hours just scrolling, wasting so much time? And it's so draining. It drains your energy. It just
yeah.
sucks the life force out of you just sitting there scrolling. And, sometimes it turns into doom scrolling and you're just looking at all the worst of the things going on in the world. So yeah, that
Oh gosh, yeah.
really,
When I hit 3 videos that are like that, I'm like, okay, I'm done. Because
yeah,
I know it'll just keep going.
yeah. Oh, it'll keep going. Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, I have a little rule
So,
for myself. Even if I had just started, like, oh, it's my break, I get to look. If I see three
mhm,
videos that are causing me, like, oh my gosh, I just put it
to
away
tense
because I
up.
can't.
Yeah.
That's kind of
Yeah,
like
but
a boundary.
cannabis addiction is a real thing. They haven't done a lot of research on it, but there is some research now coming out about how detrimental it can be.
Hmm.
Um, because it numbs you just like any other substance. It keeps you from
Hmm.
actually feeling the emotions that you need to feel. And that's
Yeah.
another thing that we're not taught is that you actually have to feel your emotions.
Yeah.
And you can't
You need
just
to go through
like
them.
in your body. You can't just intellectualize them. And yeah, cannabis prevents that. It numbs you just like anything else. And
Most things in our society stop that. Fast food, TV,
yeah,
entertainment, it all
exactly.
stops that
Keeps you
process.
stuck. Yeah.
Yeah. So how did addiction connect to disconnection from yourself? Because we're kind of just talking about that, but maybe go a little further.
Yeah. Well, I think I used it to continue to put myself in situations that my body was giving me clear signs that I didn't actually want to be there anymore. Like I was outgrowing these scenarios or these environments. But I
Mm-hmm.
would use it to sort of placate myself just to like fit in. Um, and it definitely disconnects you from your own spirit and your own soul.
Mm-hmm.
Um, because again, you're just numbing, you're not tuning into what's happening in your nervous system. You're just forcing yourself into situations that aren't good for you. So over time, it breaks trust with yourself,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So getting into self-trust.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you're doing it over and over again, and then you tell yourself, oh, well, that didn't exactly go how I wanted it to, or, I wanted to be more social in that situation or whatever. But then the social anxiety comes over you sometimes, and you're like, oh, I'm just going to smoke a little bit just to like take the edge off, make myself more social. But you end up being
Mm-hmm.
less social, and you don't have
Mm.
those like deep connections with the people that you're really looking for.
Yeah.
Um, so you disconnect from yourself, you disconnect from others, you disconnect from your self-trust. And because it's like a repeated over and over again, it really like digs into a groove and it's hard to get out of.
Yeah. That's a beautiful way of putting it. I like how you answered that.
Yeah, thanks.
So you and I had a little more like just a little email exchange about the word
Hmm.
sovereignty. And it's not something that I talk about often because I avoid using the word in general.
Yeah.
So, just to give the listener some background here, the spiritual world uses the word sovereignty all the time. And I try to advocate that
Yes.
we step away from that word because traditionally that word is used for our tribal nations and our Native American folks. And
Yeah, and I had no idea about that, so I was so glad that you taught me that.
yeah, and I'm glad you were willing to listen to it because I know it's
Mhm.
going to be a hard uphill battle in the spiritual world to be like, hey
Yeah.
guys, let's change the word because it's
Yeah,
like such a popular buzzword. But I'm like,
it is.
it's really actually a political word that two nations have like relations together.
Hmm.
And so I'm an enrolled member of the Washoe tribe of California and Nevada.
Okay.
And sovereignty is what tribal people exercise because we actually have a direct relationship with the federal government, unlike any other
Hmm.
citizens in the US or Canada too. So like your First Nations
Yeah.
peoples have the same thing.
Yes.
And so we're gonna talk about liberty. So I know this might be different for you because you're used to saying sovereign. If you use sovereign, it's okay. I know
Yeah.
it's an uphill battle with the spiritual world, but I also at my company here at Raven Rabbit, I try to do an indigenous approach, and I'm like, what service would I be giving if I didn't teach people what that word really means?
Hmm.
So when you hear the word liberty, which is that self-freedom, what does
Yes.
it mean to you personally?
So I really started learning about the meaning of, you know, having liberty energetically through my relationships because as I healed more and I healed the people-pleasing tendencies and I healed the tendencies to need external validation all of the time, I started to see how my power was returning back to me
Mm-hmm.
every time I leaned on myself and had confidence in myself and my self-worth and made decisions without others and didn't overextend myself to others and, engaged in relationships that were reciprocating, not
Mm-hmm.
just me like giving my power away constantly. So I started to actually notice and feel how my energy and my power was actually returning to me and like my being.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that really opened my eyes. And now I can see it in like little interactions, like, what you described with having to rush home and not taking the time for yourself to like go to the bathroom.
Mm-hmm.
I see it now in little interactions. It's just hard to, it's hard to express.
Yes.
Sometimes
Yeah.
it's hard to think of the examples, but they're everywhere. So yeah, it was through manipulation. It was through others manipulating me and me tuning into that. But I had to get to a certain level of healing before I was able to perceive certain actions as manipulative. Because when I was
Yes.
really in my pleasing tendencies, I didn't see it as manipulation. I actually thought people were like going out of their way to look out for me,
Mm-hmm.
but they were actually subconsciously controlling and manipulating me based on their own wounding.
Yes.
So you have to reach a certain level of inner child healing in order to like be able to perceive things at this like more elevated consciousness.
Mm-hmm. I'm happy you brought that up too, because I was thinking like, yeah, people are manipulating you, but half the time I feel like they don't even know that they are.
Yeah,
Because they're
most
just trying to make themselves feel good too.
yeah, they're just acting from their wounding and you're acting from
Hmm.
your wounding.
Yeah.
So once
And
you
we're
heal
all,
a certain amount, then your perception is elevated and you can see how you were acting from your wounding and how everyone else is still acting from their wounding. And yeah, most of the time
Mm-hmm.
control and manipulation is subconscious. It's just they're trying to stay safe, like I said, based on their wounding. But I truly believe that that is one of the main sort of things that is pushing this great spiritual awakening within
Mm-hmm.
humankind right now is that we're realizing that not only are we manipulating and trying to control one another in our day-to-day relationships, but we're being manipulated and controlled by like governments and corporations and like, groups. So it's happening on every level,
Mm-hmm.
and it really keeps us from growing spiritually and like gaining those lessons that we came here to learn. It's just keeping us stuck, like it's not allowing us to evolve. So I think it's one of the main forces behind this spiritual awakening is the fact that humankind is at this point in history supposed to realize how we have allowed ourselves to be controlled and manipulated, because when it comes down to it, some part of yourself knew that it was happening. Some part of your subconscious or unconscious, your spirit, your soul knew you were getting manipulated, but you allowed it to happen because it allowed you to fit in. It allowed you to stay safe. It allowed you to stay in that environment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. When I get intuitive hits here and there, like you just talking
Yeah.
about that is like the thing you need to speak about because you
Yes.
just like
Oh yeah, I
got
light
so
up.
on fire.
I light
Yeah,
up. Yeah. Yeah.
that is your thing. And I think too, like when I think about the word sovereignty and liberty, liberty doesn't feel as like as strong as sovereignty, but then
Yeah.
like the way you explained it is that's liberation. And to me,
Yes.
liberation is really powerful.
Yes.
And that's
I agree.
exactly what you experienced.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah. Because I know we all want to be liberated. So when we just change the verb context and the verb form, like it means so much. And I
Hmm.
don't think that sovereignty has those other verb, I'd have to look it up, those other verb contexts to it. We don't say like we do with liberation. We don't add
Right.
that.
Yes.
Yeah. Be
Interesting.
because liberation is the act of doing it, the act
Yeah.
of that freedom, where sovereignty doesn't have that. So more to add to my argument.
Yeah, and
So
like the more you put that message out there and the more people talk about, slowly, people's minds will start changing about those words. That's how change comes about.
yes, exactly. And last year, I think it was, I pick a word for the year and I was thinking something around sovereignty, but that's when I chose liberty. I'm like, what does it mean? What does that mean for a personal?
Hmm.
And so, yeah, I did a year study about that. And I never thought about how we add the Asian at the end.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I like
language
how
is
you,
important.
it is. I like how you explained it with everybody else involved with it too. Like they're all unconsciously most of the time, some do it
Yes.
deliberately. Most of
Yes.
the time are just acting out of their wounds. Oh, and this what I wanted to say was this we see it a lot in our romantic relationships where the
Hmm.
two of us are, playing off of these old wounds and then you are hurting each other
Yeah.
when really you're just trying to, a lot of mine was just trying to protect my self-abandonment,
Yeah.
my abandonment wound and that
Hmm.
fear. So I was doing things out of that space where my partner was doing something out of another space and we just
Yeah.
created a fight out of nothing
Yeah.
that we could have dealt with.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
those two energies usually end up clashing. So,
Mm-hmm. So what feels different about liberty compared to empowerment or strength?
ooh, that's a good one. Wow.
Yeah.
So, liberty is setting yourself free, establishing boundaries, not
Mm-hmm.
overextending yourself, having the self-worth and the confidence to stand in your power, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And empowerment, taking action to back
Mm.
those things up,
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
Strength, huh? I don't know. Oh my goodness, how do you define strength? Such a deep question, Jackie.
That's a hard one.
I guess strength, like, is inner strength. I don't know. Yeah, how would you?
However you view it. Well, I think about liberty is like the what we have to exercise. We have the right to go after liberty. And
Hmm.
then I think of liberation more of like that empowerment side, like what empowers you to do something about it. Because
Hmm.
you can also be empowered to exercise your liberty, or you could not. You could just sit there and be complacent and never do anything about it. Like you said, maybe just smoke weed and drink some alcohol and call it a night. But
Yeah.
like empowerment is that really deep drive, I think, inside. I think that comes from spirit,
Hmm.
I think.
Interesting.
And then liberty is just, I think anyone can experience it. There could be a spiritual aspect to it too.
Hmm. Okay, so then liberty could be maybe empowerment is because I said liberty, part of it is like establishing those boundaries, but
Hmm.
maybe establishing boundaries is the empowered action that
Oh, yeah, I like that.
allows you to gain the liberty.
Yeah. Then it lets you exercise your liberty because you've been
Yeah.
empowered enough to set your boundaries, set your goals,
Yeah.
and then you have to have strength to do it all.
Yeah.
Because that's the hard part where a lot of people fail. Like you said, oh, I'm going to quit or I'm going to do this. I'm going to set this goal. And then we never do anything about it because we're not empowered.
Yeah. And generally, you have to try over and over again. It usually doesn't change the first time around, right? So
Hmm.
it's easy to give up. It's hard to dig into that strength over and over and over again because sometimes you just feel like, well, I've tried this before. Is it ever going to change?
Yeah.
Maybe I'm not strong enough to make this change.
Yeah. We start playing that game. Your ego comes in. Oh, maybe you're not
Yeah.
strong enough when you are.
Yeah, definitely.
So, where in your life do you feel free now? And where do you
Mhm.
still feel a little bound?
So I feel free from the people-pleasing tendencies and the external validation. Um, I feel free from others' manipulation and control,
Hmm.
including on a bigger scale, not just from day-to-day relationships. Um, and a lot of that has to do with the fact that I did walk away from a career that is so just bound by a lot of misleading information. I feel like, like nowhere in healthcare do they talk about how the body can heal itself.
Yeah.
And that's a huge issue. That should be
Yeah.
a foundation, right?
Hmm.
Um, yeah, so stepping into entrepreneurship and being independent in that way really makes me feel free.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's lots of situations where I still don't feel emotionally free because I don't think I'm completely finished with, healing and regulating my nervous system.
Hmm.
So there's certain relationships that I still feel like I'm giving too much power away. Um, Yeah, most of where I still feel bound in certain things comes back to my nervous system and just the fact that I haven't
Hmm.
regulated myself through that particular environment or situation enough. Like I'm not finished. I still have more work to
Yeah.
do.
Yeah. And then I was thinking like you and I too have gone through this big catalyst of like stopping the train job. Like we went to a lot of school to be a nurse and to be a teacher.
Hmm.
And then like that's one thing, that's the catalyst. Like you go through so much to finally get to that point and be like, okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to make this change. But
Yeah.
then we still have so much after that. Like we have to explore the whole arc of being an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
And there's so much in that too to go
Oh
through.
my gosh. There's so much. I'm doing a podcast on that specifically next
Mm,
month. And ah, becoming an entrepreneur is like a spiritual awakening because
yes, I've heard that many a times.
oh my goodness, like is it that hard to like just do everything on your own? It doesn't seem that hard, but yes, it is because you're the only one that you have to rely on. You're the only
Hmm.
one that you have to talk about ideas. You're the only one that, has to push yourself forward. Nobody's giving you a deadline. Nobody
Yeah.
is giving you a schedule. No one is like building a routine for you.
Yeah.
So, I was used to working 12-hour shifts at a hospital.
Hmm.
Um, there was no
Very
like
structured, I can
very
imagine.
structured. And
Starting,
I was
yeah.
gonna be there for that time and I was just gonna work my butt off that whole time. And there was so much pressure behind me from
Hmm.
my patients and my coworkers and the doctors and management and
Hmm.
the expectations. But when you're doing it all yourself, you're the only one putting expectations on you. Like whew, it's been one of the hardest parts of the journey, honestly. It's the one thing that has almost made me give up so many times because I'm just like, I
Hmm.
don't think I can do this. Like
Hmm.
self-abandonment was really like, and I'm still working on it, on the self-abandonment.
Hmm.
But that's really been like my final frontier
Hmm.
and what keeps me moving forward sometimes in my entrepreneurship because some days I just don't feel like I've got it. Like I can't possibly take another step forward. Like there's all these things and like I have no one reassuring me and nothing has really like come to fruition yet. I have no evidence that this is working, but I just have to keep going and taking these steps forward and taking these risks and it's so
Hmm.
scary and it's so uncomfortable.
I think we could have a whole nother talk about that.
Yeah.
Definitely. Because look what you had to go through just to make it happen. And
Yeah.
then look how much is to come with going through it now.
Yeah. And there's still so much more to come, but I've had at least two or three experiences now where I felt like I couldn't possibly do this. Like, maybe I should just go back to nursing. I don't think I'm cut out for entrepreneurship. And then, you just sit with it and like the universe or whoever you work with, your spirit guides, they send you certain lessons to show you that you can get through it. And so you get
Hmm.
through these little challenges, and it's just like, oh, okay, well, I did get through that one thing that I didn't think I'd be able to get through. And now my perception has changed. And so your
Hmm.
perception of the whole experience starts to change. Like, it's okay. Like, you don't have to do it all at once. Just
Yeah.
take little steps and keep moving forward. And eventually, your whole reality changes.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. So if self-abandonment loosened its grip, what would change?
I think my capacity to take risks, to
Mm,
take bigger leaps of faith and like have confidence in myself to try new things and whether they were going to work out in my favor or not, just to take risks and know
yeah.
that either way I'm going to be okay and like the universe is going to guide me towards the the situation or lesson or experience that I need to get past it.
Yeah, I love that. The risk taking.
Yeah.
So what kind of relationship do you want with yourself going forward?
I've been working on having a more compassionate, loving, nurturing relationship with myself.
Hmm.
Soft, understanding, empathetic.
Not something you experienced, I'm sure. Nursing.
you know, um,
Oh,
not, non-judgmental, supportive. not critical. Yeah, I want to treat myself like my best friend that
Yes, I
I
agree.
love dearly.
Mm-hmm. I love that. And our last question, what feels possible now that once it didn't?
Wow, a lot of things. Like the entrepreneurship is the big one.
Mm-hmm.
There was a couple months there where I just kept facing lesson and a hardship after lesson and a hardship and told myself like I don't think I'm going to be able to do this. But now I can see that even, when I feel like I can't do something, I can just take little steps towards achieving it for like a week or two, and I get past that really big hump that feels like it's not doable.
Mm,
Um, yeah, I feel like there's so many things that I could now accomplish that I never even dreamt of before.
beautiful.
Like creative projects and, like I said, entrepreneurship and being the type of person that I always looked up to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love that. Well, today we honored the pattern without shaming it. Next time we'll explore the turning point, the moments where something inside began to shift, even if it didn't feel graceful and clean. Thank you so much for today, Olga.
Thank you, Jackie. Thanks for having me.
Before you go, I want to invite you into something with me. If this episode landed, if it made you think differently, feel something, or see yourself a little bit clearer, go leave a 5-star review. Then screenshot that 5-star review and DM it to me either on Facebook or Instagram. I'm entering everyone who does this into a giveaway for a free mini session with me, and your name stays in until you win. I really want to connect with you, see who's listening, and support you on a deeper level. So go leave a review, DM it to me, and I'll see you in my DMs.